Well, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. How y'all doing? This is the Coaches Sanctuary podcast with your host, Eddie Hamilton, Coach Hamilton, affectionately called. And we're excited about another opportunity, another show, another beautiful Thursday evening here in Bossier City, Louisiana. And weather here is wonderful in the evening time. Definitely appreciating getting that fall cool to start coming in. So, definitely excited about that. So, man, just here to, you know, to keep moving forward. Definitely excited about the growth of the podcast. Definitely excited about the support that's being shown. So, I wanted to say thank you for that. If you see at the bottom down there, you can make sure you go to our YouTube page, to the Coaches Sanctuary. Make sure you subscribe to our page, support our content. Also, if you're a avid podcaster, you like to listen while you're driving, we're on the major podcast platforms: Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Stitcher, Amazon Music. So we are definitely moving forward and grateful for your support. So we're gonna jump right in. Starting tonight. I had to push back. Y'all, we um, had a milestone. My 10-year-old son, Ethan Jeremiah, played in his first athletic event. Played soccer tonight, and it was his first time. So y'all be looking out for those pictures and videos. Definitely a proud dad. Really don't push my son, at sports. It's something I want him to want to do, and he got his first feel for it tonight, man. So that was fun. It was fun. So that's why we're on a little later than usual tonight. So we're gonna jump right in and we'll have us a little fun tonight with this. So like I said, we're doing a continuation of our coaches self-care. If you see the title, it's continued. It's knowing our place or knowing our role as coaches. All right, that's what we're focused on tonight. Self-care, coaches self-care continued. Knowing our place, knowing our role, and so we're going to piggyback on some things that we shared on last week when it comes down to expectation. I said last week that sometimes as coaches, or a lot of times as coaches, in my personal experience, sometimes we experience high levels of stress. High levels of stress. The job itself definitely is a responsibility, but there are situations that we take on and assignments that we take on that sometimes we don't need to as coaches. It's not necessary that we do that. And so what happens is we take on more than what we really need to, because of not the expectations we put on ourselves, but because of sometimes what we think our role is as a coach. And we think that we should do certain things that stretch us a little further than what we need. And sometimes it takes us away from our families. And so, through my own personal experience, I've been able to learn that I can give my all, to my program without taking away my all from my family. And so going along with what we was talking about last week with coaches self-care, one of the things I said that caring for ourselves as coaches, one of the things that we can do better is setting our own expectations for us in our lives, and not necessarily doing what we think other people think we should be doing as coaches. It's one thing that's kind of funny. It's like everybody knows what we're supposed to do. We're one of the few careers that everybody knows what a coach should be doing. Everybody knows the X's and O's better. Everybody knows how to develop better. Everybody knows how to handle our student athletes better. It's always somebody who can do our job better than us who won't go get the certification to do it. And so, yes, I am saying that because, this is our career and this is our life, and every coach wants to win at a high level. But what happens is that sometimes what we do is we allow outside influence and what we think others think about us dictate how we prioritize our time as coaches. So we want to talk about that tonight. We get into talking about coaches self-care, caring for ourselves, and starting with making sure that we are um, tempering the expectations that we think others have. So we have to make sure that we have a ground basis of understanding what the expectations that we set for ourselves, and then knowing our place, knowing our role. Okay. So it's very, very important that understanding who we are as men that coach, and also ladies, who you are as coaches, in regards to balancing life between, what we do for a career and what we do for our families. And so with that, we'll just, jump right into it. And one of the biggest things, like I said, I think is just being able to start with knowing what our role is as a person, before we know our role, in our career. Automatically, when we become coaches, we take on so many different titles, which we do. Sometimes we're psychologists, we're counselors. We put on the role of mother and father sometimes. Transportation specialists. uh, providing food and different things like that. And sometimes you just never know what kind of calls you will get, um, from your student athletes in their lives, because our students do go through different things, and sometimes they'll call us before they call their own family members sometimes. So, but it's very, very important that for us that we do a good job in understanding what's most important. And let's be straight up, what we do, it's our career, it's our job, is what we do to take care of our families. And so, with that being said, there has to be some boundaries that are put up that you have as a coach. I don't care what anybody says. There are people they will, give suggestions and think that that we play a part, and that sometimes what we do is that we go too far, with our own expectations, with our own mindset on who we are in the lives of our student athletes, um, because we do mean well. But then sometimes over time I've seen a lot of families broken up, okay, and who struggle, and I've seen coaches' children, who some who didn't turn out well themselves because their parent, who was a coach, spent more time with other people's children more than their own. And so it's not to say that we're not supposed to be there for our student athletes, but we have to make sure that we prioritize the time that we spend with our families before that. And we have to make sure that we're taking care of home, whether you're a husband, whether you're a wife, if you are a single parent as a coach, your own child or children that you have. It's things that we have to make sure that we are making sure we just prioritize our time. So, staying with the theme of taking care of ourselves, self-care, it's going to start in here. It's going to start in our hearts. It starts in our minds. It's a situation where we have to understand our role as a husband, our role as a father, our role as a wife, our role as a mother, in understanding what our place is, okay, when it comes down to our career. And then some will even take it further, to make it sound better, because they use these words really sometimes to manipulate us, even though it's true, but sometimes it's just how it's used. We say a ministry, it is, but also before your ministry on your job, you have a ministry at home. You have to be able to minister, okay, and lead your family. There is literally roles that have been created, by God for a man who is supposed to lead his family. Nothing that you do outside of your home is more important than home. I should not treat my career better than I treat my household. And we can say, well, I work hard so I can take care of my family. And that's pretty much been the stigma for a long time. But the bottom line is when you're absent, you're not taking care of your family. And it's not a necessity to make sure that everybody else is taken care of before you take care of your family. Because when you prioritize the time that you spend with your family, then what you're doing is you're actually finding a way to balance things out, and then you're taking care of yourself. Because our mindsets, our pride, our joy, our feelings of self-worth and self-esteem, all of those things, we should not feel better about wins and losses than we do about making sure that our spouses are satisfied with their relationship with us, that our children are satisfied with our relationship with us. Okay. Because the bottom line, most of us in this profession and what we do, we are salaried. We're salaried, which means there are no bonuses. There is no overtime. None of those things come to us for the time that we spend. We don't clock in and clock out. We're pretty much always on the clock. And that's why it's very, very important that if you're going to make sure that emotionally you are stable coaches, okay, that we're stable emotionally. Some of our instability that happens is not because of what's happening on our jobs. Some of it is because what's not happening at home. And it's very, very important that we understand how important it is for us to be emotionally in tune with our households. However your household is set up, that right there is one thing to focus on when you're talking about caring for yourself, coach. Because your role as a husband and father at home and being present and being emotionally in tune actually brings you more peace. And then guess what? That peace can follow you to your job. And you can do your job as a coach better knowing that home is being taken care of. You actually can be able to discern the needs of your student athletes and what they need from you, and and what your role is in their life and the place that you hold. Because if we are teaching our student athletes, even though they might have two-parent homes or have great family situations, but eventually, you hope for your athletes to want to have their own families. Well, guess what? The perfect example can help parents is that when they see that us as coaches, that we prioritize our time with our families. So what I learned a few years ago, in the back end of my days while I was at Fair Park, is that when I had my conversations with my student athletes and when we get ready to leave practice, I would always tell them, man, make sure y'all spend time with your families. Or if I had a doctor's appointment or I had to run an errand or something for my wife or go get something for my son, I would let them know, hey guys, I gotta go. Assistant coach, whoever it is, we're gonna let them finish this up. I gotta go take care of something for my wife. or I need to take care of something for my son, or hey, I might be a few minutes late. Our assistant coach is going to pick up, get y'all started because I have to take care of something for my household. That might seem small, but if we're really going to plant seeds in our student athletes to help them understand and see what's most important as they evolve in their lives, coaches spend more time with children than sometimes their own parents. So when you find us in this profession, of course, there's sometimes that we will sacrifice for our student athletes, for our kids, because we try to treat them like our own. But they got to see us do that for our own families. Because what you're doing is now is you're getting them to see, yes, I love my job. I love y'all. But you're not more important than my family. And what I've learned over time personally, people ask me, how do you get your teams to play so hard? Haven't had super, super talented teams. Had some really great kids, but had some great individual talent over time. But people ask all the time, coaches, administrators, people, man, how do you get them to play so hard? It's because our conversations are not just about the game. Playing the game for me, when I coach, I'm coaching decision making. My old pastor in Natchitoches, I always bring him up. Pastor Richard Stampley, Shekinah Glory Ministries in Natchitoches, Louisiana. I heard this from him years ago. He said, God created men to make our best decisions under pressure. That stuck with me now probably for about 15 years or more. And what it means to me is that as a coach, I am trying to keep the fire lit under my players, under my team, and heat it up real good because I don't want them to get in games and be afraid of what people call pressure situations. Because I want them to be prepared to make their best decisions when the game gets the hardest. But with that, what I'm doing is my total reason is not just to win that game, but it's for them to plant seeds inside of them that when they become adults, so whether they go to college, go to the military, or go to trade school, or start their own business, or whatever it is that they do, is that when there's difficulty, when there's times that are hard, that they can go back to their days of playing ball for me and remembering there were games that we won that on paper the opponent was more talented. That we were down 10, 15 points and come back and won games. It's not about the game. It's a game. But now they're having reference points where they can go back to when they didn't quit when it was hard and they figured it out. And so now going back to me as coach taking care of myself in my personal life, there were things that could have cost me my family. Bad decisions and habits that I had that I was losing to in my personal life. And then when I started to overcome after going through therapy and counseling and, much prayer and conversations, hard conversations, all those different things, and then overcoming those bad habits and vices, and then turning around now and being able to lead my team and my guys and my players, now I can make reference to them on the importance of fighting. Yes, it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good, but it's worth it. Keep pushing, keep scrapping, keep fighting. And not just the fight and the scrap, the details of the game plan, the things we work on. Now that's teaching them that as a husband, even as a wife or a family together, on how to pay attention to the details in your life. Budgeting financially, planning for buying your first house, If you want to start a business, put money back. It's all these different things that they can refer back to playing ball that lets them know that, hey, I can do this in their future. So coaches, now coming back to us, when we do that, when we prioritize our own lives in front of our student athletes, when we make sure we're taking care of home in front of our student athletes, then guess what? Now you're caring for yourself. Because the reason I'm saying is because there are certain things that we stay up all night worrying about that's not in our control. Come on, y'all. I know my coaches out there feel me. There's some things, guys, that's outside of our control, and we stay up and we worry about things that we just can't control. But the more things that we conquer in our lives and we be examples, now what we're doing is we can rest better knowing that we're giving them our best. When we see our student athletes making better decisions, I'll tell y'all something. I got stories as recent as, this school year, last school year, and going back over the years where I had student athletes who struggled, had parents who contacted me saying, man, our child has never made grades this good. Not because I did anything, go talk to their teachers and try to get them to, don't do that. You set standards. You set standards, and then you challenge them to, if you want to play basketball, you won't play in a game with a D. If you want to play in the game, you won't get in trouble in class. You'll wear your uniform properly. You'll be on time for class. And I don't bend because I have something they want. If your student athlete wants basketball or football or baseball or whatever, and you keep bending so they can play, coach, how are you helping them? How are you sleeping at night knowing you're letting players play that fool around in class, that don't want to do their work? How? I can rest because I know I'm giving them what they need to function, not only as a teenager, but as an adult. I want y'all to think about that. We are not helping kids who keep bending the rules. We're lying. We are trying to win a game. In my career, I've been able to win games without my quote unquote best player who's kept bending the rules, had to suspend them, not let them play, and then go ahead and play without them and still win games. And it was very, very gratifying. It was because it's showing them that if your character is strong, our team's just that much better. Because like I said, when we know our place and we know our role in their lives, we understand who we are at home, the person that we're supposed to be at home. And then we balance that out with knowing our place in our student athletes' lives. Even though we might have situations, I've worked in the inner city schools, I've had, players with single parent families, all that kind of stuff there, and I treated them all the same way. Because every child needs the same thing. They need attention. They need love. And love looks different. As long as it includes honesty, love looks different. My love for one might look a little different from love for another because they have different needs. But as a coach, if I'm going to be concerned about me, my mental health, my physical health, those things, I have to make sure that I'm giving my student athletes the best version of me possible with a clear mind, a clear conscience, picking up the phone or emailing, talking to veteran coaches who've been around for a long time and learning from their mistakes. Because I've had veteran coaches who talk to me about, I wish I would have. I wish I would have done this. Man, make sure that you take care of your family. Don't let that job keep you from your family. And not just being there and being worn out and tired, but being emotionally in tune where your own children can communicate with you, where your wife or husband can communicate with you. We have to keep ourselves in the right place when it comes down to our student athletes and our families. Yes, the student athletes has issues going on. I've seen it all. But I got to make sure I'm taking care of home before I take care of the student athlete. If I keep jumping and leaving my house and jumping out every time something happens with a student athlete, and I keep missing out on time at home, y'all, that's not good. And that's not fair for you to expect our families to always sacrifice their time with us because little Johnny need me or little Sarah need me. Let me tell you something. Man, this is not something that I've gotten right all the time. No, this is something I got wrong a lot. And I had to learn. Because the bottom line is when I was doing that, I actually had my own internal issues. I dealt with low self-esteem, low self-worth, wanting to prove myself as a coach, to show people what I can do. So along with that comes on taking on responsibilities and going further than what I really need to. Because I'm trying to make up for what I'm not. Ask anybody that played for me. Anybody. They'll tell you about our conversations. They'll tell you. I've been very, very transparent with my players, with my life, my indiscretions, my downfalls, my bad decisions. I've been very, very open about that. Because one thing as a man, one thing we don't do well is we're not vulnerable, full of pride, try to make it seem like we got all the answers. So maybe female coaches, our mothers and wives, maybe this is something that y'all don't have to deal with. But as men, we got pride, we got egos. But when I mess up, ask my players. Anybody that's known me from Val Park to Southwood, now the airline, if I make bad decisions, bad choice, or something that, I'll apologize. I'll let them know. And with that transparency, that's a part of caring for myself. Because now I don't have to look like Superman in front of my kids. They need a human. The heroes that we need to be in our student athletes' lives and in our families' lives is a regular, normal, everyday person. So they need. Sometimes we gotta say no. Most times we need to say no. And like I told y'all, this ain't something I've always done. It's something that I'm consistently doing now based off all the mistakes I made before. So now it's a high and low, up and downs to this very day. I still mess up sometimes. Sometimes I go a little bit too much sometimes. Yeah, it happens. Because sometimes you got to say no. And we're not talking about the emergency situations, okay? All right, because sometimes people go all the way left, and we're not talking about emergencies. That's a different thing. But sometimes we delve too deep and we go too far sometimes with how much our student athletes need us. And your own children at home are missing out on time with you. So it's very, very important, coaches. Know your place in your student athlete's life. Know where to cut it off. Understand your role at home. In my household, they have something called the 5 love languages. My wife understands mine. Mine is words of affirmation. I like to be built up. That's me. My wife is quality time. So for her, it's not always I got to go here and go there and go there. It's simply just being at home. That's it. Got to be here. So I'm finding myself at home more than I used to. And sometimes I'll go. I'm telling you, I'll go. But like I said, we run a couple small businesses now. We got to do some things here and there. And so it's just one of those things that is just constantly trying to figure it out and keep it in the forefront. Okay? And my wife will tell me, if it's a little too much, she'll let me know. But that's it's being a team. It's being a team. So I encourage you, coaches, if you're going to care for yourself, set your own expectations in your life. You do that. You make sure that, at home is taken care of. You make sure. Make sure you're spending time with your wife or your husband. Make sure you're spending time with your kids. The other night, I think my wife and I set up. I was tired. She wanted to watch a movie, and I sat up and watched the movie. And I was really tired. I really was. And but I enjoyed myself. We watched a nice movie. Got a chance to talk and hang out for a little while, and it was worth it. It was worth it. I'll even tell y'all this. I had a deadline to finish reading the book the other night, and I was so tired. I only had like 10 pages left in the book, and she read the book to me. She read the last 10 pages. I mean, man, it still kind of blows my mind that she took time out to do that. So that lets me know she's on my team. She's on my team. So coaches, man, take the time out to make sure that you set the tone for what's most important in your life. Win, lose, or draw, yes, we need our jobs. Let's be honest. I'm talking to, you know, everybody's not going to be the state champ. It's impossible. That's why they're called the champ. Your career success, people are going to call out wins and losses. Yes, I want to, and I plan on being, a big time winner when I'm done coaching, and can be proud of, the wins. But it's not going to change my life. It's not going to change my life. So even though I do have expectations for my career and things I want to accomplish, it's still not more important than what my family thinks about me. I have to prioritize what my family thinks about me. And for some reason, I got blessed with a son that he'll tell me exactly what he's thinking. And I listen to him. Like I said, I don't get it right all the time. But know your place with your student athletes. Understand, this is your job. It's not your life. It's your job. It's a career. You do everything possible to lead them by example. Be there for them. Provide opportunities for y'all to talk, to communicate, so you can know your student athletes and what their goals are and what they aspire to be outside of the game. But more important than that, know your role at home. If you're a wife, know your role. You're a mother, know your role. And I mean, kind of jokingly, I'm sitting here. Probably the female coaches, the wives and mothers, probably do a way better job than men do, being mama and being coach. They probably do a way better job at balancing that, because one thing about a mother, she's not going to neglect her house. Just not going to happen. But us men, yeah, we get caught up. We get caught up. And I'm telling you guys, when you're done coaching, nobody's going to care. When we're done, nobody's going to care. You know, you get people pat you on the back and say, "Oh, coach, I remember when," and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't matter. Do the best job that you can do and then go home and take care of yourself. And you take care of yourself with your expectations. What do you expect? What kind of husband do you expect to be? What kind of father? What kind of wife? What kind of mother? And don't let your job pull you from being the best person you can be at home. And when we do that and we don't let the pressure from our job get the most of us, coach, guess what? Now you're caring for yourself. You sleep better. Tonight, I'm going to sleep really good. It's been a long day. So I love y'all. Again, thank you. I really do appreciate you logging in, being a part, for supporting. Remember, you can go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube page. Thank you for that in advance. And also, you can download our podcast at Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, um, Amazon Music. We're on all of those platforms, and we'll be adding some more. And y'all get some rest. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and go tackle Friday tomorrow. Go enjoy your Friday and enjoy your weekend. So again, thank you for logging in. Y'all get some rest. Love y'all.